Well, good evening, friends. Welcome to Friarside Chat here at Sanctified Studios. As always, I'm your deep fat friar, Pastor Andrew. Friends, recently your deep fat friar, found himself in a very precarious situation. I was out on the back 40, my backyard, when I was walking around and realized I didn't have my house keys with me. My truck was locked and everyone was gone. There was no way that I could get into the house. I mean, I didn't want to break down the door. I couldn't crawl through a window. It was then that it hit me. I was going to have to survive. I was going to have to build a shelter. I was going to have to make fire with sticks. I was going to have to forage for food and defend myself from wild, predatory animals. And then I realized I don't know how to do that stuff. So, joining us tonight is a real-life survival training expert. He has amazing stories and great skill set. In fact, he has survived some of the most brutal winters that Florida has ever had. He's also been through all kinds of storms and hurricanes in his mom's basement and never once cried. In fact, he even stayed in non-chain hotels all the way across Kansas one summer. He has an iron gut. He ate carnival food that had set out overnight on the counter. He has been in almost every kind of survival situation you can think of. Joining us tonight is the one, the only, Professor W. Ildman. Professor Ildman, are you there? Are you there, Professor Ildman?
Well, hoo-wee! Hey there, you chunky clergyman. How you doing? Welcome to my classroom. I'm Professor W. Ildman. The principal is Mother Nature. Today, we're going to talk about surviving.
Oh, good. Well, just so you know who you're dealing with here, I'm no stranger to the roughing life. I'm telling you, I one time ate off the dollar menu for 3 days straight. It was really rough, but I made it. So what are you going to teach me about survival today?
Well, there, you sanctified survivor. We're going to start with the most important thing in an entire survival situation, and that is shelter. Now, the most important thing that you can remember about shelter is location, location, location. You see, if you put your shelter in a place that it won't last, then you're never going to get no rest. It's kind of like what the good book says in Psalm 91. Those who live in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. You see, we got to make sure where our location is.
Well, that certainly is really good advice, whether you're living off the land or just trying to survive day to day. You know, our struggles make it difficult, but when you and I shelter in Jesus, that's always the best place to start.
Oh, you got that right. One time, I was teaching a survival school outside of a Krispy Kreme donut in Dogtown, Florida, when I didn't pay attention and I accidentally built my shelter over 3 fire ant mounds. Now, let me tell you something. When you have uninvited guests to your shelter, and when you don't pay attention, you don't get no rest. Let me tell you something else. That term, ants in your pants, that ain't funny at all. Oh, what's that? Hold on just a second. Lesson 2, getting food. Got him. Oh, he's a good one. Looky there. That's one of them woodborne grubs. Tastes just like chicken. The original grub hub. I love it.
Professor Ildman, how did you learn so much about survival? I mean, who taught you?
Oh yeah, that one there, that's an easy one. You ever heard that song? The wise man built his house upon the rocks, house upon the rocks, house upon, or however that goes. Well, that was one of my first survival songs. You see, my mom always made sure that I knew that real survival meant knowing the truth that Jesus loves me. She did that by reading to me from the Bible. And then I realized the Bible is full of survival stuff. Like when David, he slept out in a cave, and Elijah, he went down by the creek. He lived there for a while. And then there was that 40-year survival class the Israelites went through. Man, that's a long class. I bet that one cost like $99.99. You know, but the most amazing part about all them was that if they would take the time to rest in the shelter of God's leading, they would always find true rest. I think that's a pretty good lesson for us, too.
That's really great truth, and I wholeheartedly agree. But I hope you're not mad. I think I'm going to have to find someone else to teach me survival skills. I don't think I can eat grubs. That was just nasty.
I understand. You're kind of finicky, ain't you, Friar? But not all skills are for everyone. Some people are just sissies. So I understand why you can't be in my school much longer. But I guess if you want to remember one thing, just remember this. This is the most important thing you're ever going to hear. Finding shelter with Jesus in the wilderness of life, that's the most important thing we can ever do. Well, I reckon I better get going. I got cricket cakes on the fire, and if they get overdone, they get real crunchy and stuck in between my two teeth. And man, I don't like that at all. I'll see you later, Friar. Bye.
Well, friends, there you have it. From a real-life survival expert himself. The best thing you and I can do to survive day to day in the wild of this world is to find our shelter in Jesus. You know, friends, sometimes we try and find our shelter in our job or money or relationships or stuff. And then when the storms of life come, the shelter doesn't hold. So will you join me, your deep fat friar, Pastor Andrew, this week in following the truth found in Psalm 91? Will you join me in making our shelter in Jesus alone? And if we'll do that, we'll rest in the shadow of the Most High. Thanks so much for joining us here at Sanctified Studios and Friarside Chats. As always, I'm your deep fat friar, Pastor Andrew. We'll see you next time.